You know, a few days ago, it was the festival of Shavuos, Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. And I wanted to tell a story about the holiness and love that people had for the Torah. This story is about a very famous rabbi called the Ridbaz, who was the rabbi 100 years ago in Sfat. And he, with his students, was in the graveyard in Sfat, and he suddenly noticed that it had begun snowing, and he sat down on a rock and he began crying. And his Talmidim, his students, asked him, "Rabbi, why are you crying?" And he said, "This snow reminds me of when I was a little boy in Russia. My parents were very, very poor," the Ridbaz said, "and they couldn't afford to give me a proper Torah education, but they really, really wanted me to learn Chumash, so they called in a teacher, a local rabbi, who, because in Russia in those days there was no Talmud Torah, and this Rebbe was going to teach me Chumash, and I was going to spend time at his house where he would teach me all I needed to know about Chumash and Rashi." And what happened, my parents, the Ridbaz said, agreed to pay this teacher 1 ruble a month for the teaching. And what happened was, they were so poor, after the first month, they didn't have the ruble to pay the teacher. So they said to him, "Please continue 1 more month, and we're sure to have the money in a month's time to pay you." But 2 months went by, they still didn't have the money. So they said to the teacher, "Please continue 1 more month, we're sure to have the money at the end." But the 3rd month was finished almost, and they didn't have the money. And you know, the teacher also needed to feed his family. So with a heavy heart, the father of the Ridbaz went to the base of Knesset, Daven, Ma'ariv, and after Ma'ariv something happened, and he came home very happy to his wife, and he says, "I have an idea. There was a rich man in Shul who said that his oven for heating the house had broken down, and he needed a special piece to make the oven work. There wouldn't be time to order a new piece and have it fixed, a new piece from Moscow, before the winter would be upon us. And he said he'd give 6 rubles to anybody who would give this piece from his own oven in his house." So he said, "Let's give this piece from our own oven. We won't have heating, but we'll have the 6 rubles on a little boy, David Yaakov. Yaakov David would be able to learn Chumash." So they went, and he opened up the oven, took out the piece, and gave it to the rich man, and so his oven would work. And he came home with 6 rubles, and little Yaakov David went off to the Rebbe's house and continued learning. The parents had given him 3 rubles, and they said, "Teach him for another 3 months, and we'll give you the other 3 months." So now the Ridbaz is sitting on the stone in the graveyard in Sfat and telling his students, and he's telling them, "I was learning Torah, and it was wonderful, but whenever I came home from the Rebbe's house to my parents, it was a very hard winter, and I saw them shivering because of what they'd given up for me so I could learn Torah. But although they were shivering, their hearts were glowing because they'd made this sacrifice for the sake of the Torah." And the Ridbaz, you know, his name honors his father. His name is Reb David Yaakov ben Ze'ev, for Ze'ev was his father's name. So this is a beautiful story about the honor and the glory and simcha of learning Torah.